Hey everyone, I'm Denny and welcome to another video of me just trying to figure out my life. I'm a management consultant and I'm currently on a bit of a career break, trying to fill my time with things that I think might be more fulfilling to me. And at the moment that means I spend a couple of mornings a week at the dog shelter where I get to spend some time with the dogs, give them some love, a little bit of training, give them a walk, give their brain some stimulation, and hopefully showcase a bit more of what they like so that we can try and find them some homes, because some of them have spent way too long at the dog shelters. And a lot of these dog shelters are volunteer run, which is great, but the volunteers obviously have very limited time and capacity a lot of the time. So it can often mean that they do their best, but we could be doing more to try and showcase the dogs. So come along and let's go. We'll do some walks this morning. We'll see some dogs, we'll get lots of cuddles, and hopefully we'll have a good time. So it's around 8:30. That's not right. It's around 9 o'clock, and I'm doing my first walk of today, which is with Tessa. And it would be nice to try and start these walks earlier because, it's Australian summer, Perth summer, it gets really hot during the day. Today's not too bad. We'll be tops of around 29. But obviously, I've got to walk my own dog in the morning, so it's hard to get here much earlier than sort of 8:30, given it's about half an hour away from home. But what we try and do is try and get as many dogs out for about half an hour walk, and if every dog could get a 30-minute walk per day, that would be awesome. It can be a bit tricky walking around here sometimes because we are in a kennel zone, so literally every house in this suburb is like a dog kennel or a boarding house. So everywhere you go, there's just dogs barking. Come on, Tessa. Everywhere you go, there's just dogs barking, people walking dogs, and especially this is a dog shelter that I'm volunteering at, right? So a lot of these dogs are a bit dog reactive. So it means that we always need to keep an eye out and be really vigilant and keep an eye on where we're walking. I can't look at the camera while I'm really walking because I need to spend all of my time watching Tessa and watching the environment to make sure that nothing catches us by surprise. Okay, let's go. We're just crossing the road. We want to move pretty quickly. And the annoying thing as well is that there's no footpaths around here, so we end up on the road or on, sort of the nature strip in front of these houses, which is not an ideal place to walk. Especially in summer when the grass can be really prickly or the concrete can get really hot. Tessa's been one of the long-termers at the shelter that we're at. I think she's been there probably between 1 and 2 years now, and hasn't really been given much of a chance, which is pretty sad. She's a bit boisterous, which can make her a bit challenging, but definitely not that bad. Like, I'm walking her right now. Obviously I've got one hand on my phone recording, one hand on the lead. She's walking pretty well. Especially with big dogs, a lot of the time it's just about managing their excitement levels. Because when they start bouncing up, like when they start jumping up, that can be an issue, especially if you're not particularly strong or confident, or if you've got young children. So yeah, you really need to manage that. Oh, come on, let's go. There are always distractions out here. Oh, we've got a truck coming, so we're just going to step over. Come on, Tess. And Tess is great because she doesn't really react to much that we see. Some dogs out there, they see a car, they'll get reactive, they'll try and chase it, they'll stalk it, or they'll run away from it. They see a dog that they want to lunge at that, bark at that. Tess is pretty chill, so I think she really deserves better, to be honest. She really deserves a better chance. Every time I say her name, she looks at me. She's such a good girl. Tessa. Oh, look at that. I'll give you a treat for that. And with that sit as well. So I'm gonna keep walking. We'll do about half an hour, hopefully, and we'll see how we go. So I've got Faith this time, and she's a much more fearful dog. So I actually didn't want to come. We're in like a little small meet and greet yard. and we were just walking past this to exit the shelter. I didn't want to come into here because there's nothing really. Nothing went in there. Yeah, but like obviously this is just like a small little box. We're going for a walk, but she really wanted to come in here. And this way she gets a little bit of off-lead time as well, so win-win, I guess. And she's super playful, so normally if you just pick up a toy, she's like, yes! Oh, what's that? What'd I tell you? So playful. So playful, but just so afraid of the outside world. Oh no! That wasn't our fault. That was gonna happen. And we are on the move. There's gates everywhere, as you can expect. This is a nervous dog right here. She moves pretty slowly. When we were in the little yard and she was off lead, like her tail was up, her tail was wagging. Now her tail is down, which doesn't always mean too much, but I think if you compare her just general demeanor, she's a bit much more cautious out here than she was in that little yard. Sometimes dogs like faith. Come on, let's go, gorgeous. Nope, we're already stopped. So basically she just saw a person walking probably like 15 meters, 20 meters away. And that's enough to just like get her to watch, get her to stare. If we can get her moving a little bit, that would be awesome. If I can get 15 or even 20 minutes out of you, that would be great. A lot of the nervous dogs like Faith, they get so excited for their walk. But then as soon as you like get out of the shelter, they just don't want to move. And she's not the only one that's like this. There are many dogs that just don't have the confidence outside. And you end up just spending a lot of the time just trying to give them some gentle encouragement. Sometimes with dogs like Faith, it's just about the confidence of the person that's handling them. And like if I walk really confidently and just kind of move, that's enough to kind of get them to move. It doesn't always work. Okay, so it's been a couple of minutes. We haven't moved at all. And that's okay, you know, like sometimes we're just standing here. If I try and move away, she will resist. And she just wants to watch the world from this distance. And sometimes that's okay as well. She's the kind of dog probably that for a while, because she's been like this, she's been at the shelter for years now. If she got adopted for a long time, she'd probably just be kind of a backyard dog. She'll be so happy in the house, off lead in the backyard, just playing with her toys. And she might, you know, just do like really small walks around the block until she builds up her confidence. And that can take some time, that's fine. Look at her stance. This is not the stance of a particularly confident dog, even though there's like really not much happening. Isn't that right, Faith? Ain't that right? Hey, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Faith, what are we looking at right now? Are you looking at anything in particular? Or are you just observing? Okay, so a couple minutes of just standing there and we are moving again. We moved 5 meters and we are stopped again, but we moved, so that's what matters. Some dogs are just like different on different days. I've walked her before and she has walked much further than this. Some days she's just like, no. And you know, that's the beauty of it. They all have their kind of, their own personalities, their own temperaments. They're smart, they're sensitive, and they feel certain ways, certain days. Here we go. Wow, not so fast. We're moving, guys. At a pace of probably 2 kilometers an hour. I'll take it though. So, while we're not really moving, I'll just quickly talk about why am I making a video about this. There's two reasons, really. One is that I think that being able to talk on camera is a really good skill. Making videos that are entertaining, engaging, and valuable, I think is
a valuable skill, and I know that it takes a really long time to make videos that are good, but as they say, you have to start somewhere. So this is me just starting, right? And these are not good videos for sure, like I know that, no one needs to say that, but this is me just starting. And the other part is that, yeah, I kind of want to work on just like cool projects throughout my life. And I really want to put that out into the world, show you guys what that journey's like, how difficult it can be, how good it can be. But, you know, I won't be able to do any of that if I have no experience or no confidence and no courage to just make videos about like my daily life. So this is where I'm going to start. And I have some ideas for projects in the future that I think that will be really interesting, that I want to commit myself fully to, and I want to document the journey both for myself and for people that hopefully get some inspiration from it. Oh, here we go. Look at her being a dog. There you go. Oh god, it's so hard to maintain my stream of thought when I have, oh my god, what? Oh Faith, let's go, there's a dog on the other side of the fence. Hey look, she's having a good time. What was I? Yeah, I want to show people, I want to document those for myself, and show everyone that, you know, what it's like to run certain types of businesses or do certain types of projects, certain types of interesting things in the world, so that hopefully they can try and do something like that as well. And especially for someone that's spent their whole life in the corporate world, a lot of these non-corporate things are really scary to, it's really hard to break into because you just don't know anything. But I think it can be done, and I want to try. And also for my own personal journey, I want to document that kind of stuff as well. I think it'll be awesome. Oh, here's Faith. Hey Faithy. You happy? Are you happy right now? You look happy. Shall we just rest here for a little bit? I always like to rest in the shade in this spot because it's in between houses. There's like a nice, really nice patch of grass. I'm not really on anyone's front lawn in particular. The dogs seem to really like it as well. We get to kind of observe people come past, maybe the cars come past. And for dogs like Faith, it's just a good way to kind of observe the world. We're just going to sit here for a few minutes, soak it in. I think Faith is having a nice time here. Are you having a nice time, Faith? Are you having a nice time here? And then we will head back. Okay, so I'm up to my third walk of the morning, and I have a little boy here who he's challenging in some ways, but he's an awesome dog. I'll show you. His name is Elliot. He has been at this shelter for over a year now, and I don't think he's had any interest, which is pretty sad. But one of the things that you'll notice about him is that he walks really well. He's honestly probably the best walker at the shelter. With Elliot is some dogs, and most dogs are like this, the best part of every dog's day is the walk. And they spend most of their day obviously inside a little kennel. So as soon as they see that you're coming in with their collar and their lead, they just get so excited. And they just go absolutely crazy. You know, it makes sense. Like the shelter is a stressful environment already, and they're always kind of barking and feeding off each other's energy. So what that means is, as soon as you bring in something to excite them, they just get even more excited, and it can be too much. So for a dog like Elliot, trying to get his collar on and his lead on, it's difficult. Like, he's just jumping up, he's just barking. None of it is from aggression. It's just so much excitement, he just can't contain himself. And I think that's, you know, one of the challenges with the shelter environment is that they've got nothing better. We do the best we can, but I don't think he'd be like that at all in a home. You know, like, I think in a home where he's calm, he can manage the environment better, remove stress from his life, I think he'd just be like excited, like happy to go for a walk, but I don't think he'd go crazy like that. And I should say, like, he gives off a horrible first impression when you first meet him. And that makes things hard as well, because obviously when people come to look at a dog to adopt, they're walking past the dogs in their kennels. I totally get this, but like if a dog is just going absolutely crazy, they're kind of jumping off the walls, yeah, why would you pick that dog? But the reality is that, you know, this is not the right place to judge a dog, which is why, you know, it's so important to get them out for a walk, you know, calm their mind a little bit, and to see a little bit more of their real temperament and their real personality. Well, Elliot's actually a really nice, really cuddly boy when you're outside, but yeah, just inside. And I think that's, you know, to be expected. I think my own dog, who I would by all accounts consider him to be a very good boy, dog in a kennel environment probably would not be great. But it's a bit sad, you know, you have dogs like Elliot that are just not given a chance just because of a bad first impression. And I don't think it should be that way, but what can you do? The first time I went to a dog shelter to ask about volunteering, it was the same for me, because, you know, I was basically a stranger walking through the shelter trying to check it out, and those dogs all thought I was an intruder. So they were all just barking at me non-stop. Some of them jumping at the, kind of like lunging at the kennel gates. And it's so overwhelming. Like, if I was an adopter and there was like one dog that was just chilling, I'm definitely gravitating to that dog. And unfortunately, what that's meant is that a lot of the dogs that are at this particular shelter, so this shelter's got around, you know, let's say 24 dogs at any given time. Quite a lot of them have been there for quite a long time, because it takes time to build up a relationship with a dog, and people are understandably looking for probably the easier dogs. I just think the shelter is not the best place to judge a dog, but it's just, yeah, there's not really much else we can do, I guess. We just make videos about them, try and show a bit more of what their real personalities are. We do the best we can. Isn't that right, Elliot? Yeah, he's a good boy. So we're in my favourite resting spot. And look at him, he's such a calm boy. When we're in the kennel, his energy is totally different. Like, he can honestly be a bit crazy. And this is what I'm saying, like, when we're outside, you see a much better version of the dogs, which I think is probably closer to what you should expect to see in a home, where they're a bit further from the stress.